I'm the man of the house, what I say goes. If you don't obey me, we'll get a divorce. Even though he was cheating on me, my husband still tried to control me. Why should I have to listen to him? Fine, let's get a divorce then, I replied calmly. I made sure all the loans were in his name so he'd finally realize how much I had been supporting our life. My name is Belle, I'm 36 years old and work as a system engineer. I've been married to my husband, Derek, for 6 years. We met through work, his company was a subcontractor for mine, while I was temporarily assigned to his company. He was kind to me, we started talking more, and eventually, we began dating. After a while, he proposed, and I said yes. When we got married, I quit my job. Working as an engineer was exhausting, the long hours drained me both physically and mentally, and the pay wasn't worth the stress. I worried that if I kept working like that, I wouldn't have time for Derek, and our marriage would suffer. So, I became a freelancer. This gave me more time to handle the housework and spend time with my husband. In the beginning, freelancing didn't pay well, but as I gained more clients, my income grew quickly. I was grateful to Derek for supporting us financially during those early days when I wasn't earning much. I put a lot of effort into taking care of our home. Cooking wasn't my strong suit, but I tried new recipes every day to make him happy. Thanks for cooking and cleaning, it really helps, Derek said, and his words made me feel appreciated. In the early years of our marriage, we respected and cared for each other. Life was happy. But a few years later, Derek brought up something unexpected. Don't you think it's time for us to get a new house? He asked. A new house? I was surprised. Derek wasn't exactly great at saving money. Shouldn't we save more first? I suggested. What are you talking about? I earn a good salary. We've never had financial problems, have we? I wanted to say, that's because I've been contributing my own income, but I held back. Although Derek gave me money for household expenses, he spent his personal allowance recklessly. To make up for it, I used part of my income to balance the household budget. I didn't tell him how much I was earning. I was afraid it might hurt his pride. Besides, I wanted to show gratitude for his financial support when I first started freelancing. But now, Derek didn't seem to understand how much things cost, or how much we were actually spending. What kind of house do you have in mind? I asked, trying to steer the conversation. Derek kept adding more and more expensive features to his dream house. All of this will cost a lot, I pointed out. It's fine, this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and my income should cover it, he replied confidently. I wanted to finally tell him the truth about our finances. Derek, I've been helping with household expenses too. I earn a good income from freelancing, I said. But instead of listening, he accused me of lying. Come on, don't make stuff up, he said. I'm not lying, I insisted. Even though I tried to convince him to choose a more affordable house, Derek didn't listen. He took out a huge loan based on his salary alone. At first, we seemed okay financially, but over time, Derek's spending spiraled out of control. He started buying expensive clothes, luxury watches, and going out drinking with his coworkers almost every night. He worked overtime to cover some of it, but his reckless spending became impossible to ignore. Despite everything, Derek was determined to build a house, and in the end, he made it happen. Wow, this house is amazing. Owning a house really feels like a symbol of success, doesn't it? He was right. The new house was beautiful, spacious, modern, and comfortable. I especially loved my new workroom. It was much bigger, and I could finally set up a large desk. Having more space to work made my job easier and more productive, and for that, I was truly grateful. But the mortgage payments worried me. Derek didn't seem to grasp how serious they were. We had to make large payments every month on a long-term loan. The house was in his name, but he spent so recklessly that his bank account was often empty. Because of that, I had to use my income to cover the mortgage. It was starting to frustrate me. One day, I decided to bring it up. Derek, don't you think you've been spending too much lately? We need to be more mindful, especially with the mortgage. But he frowned and snapped at me. What are you talking about? Haven't we been fine even after buying the house? You're worrying over nothing. Maybe you're just bad at managing your money, and that's not my fault. I was stunned. Hold on, I've been doing everything I can to save money, using the household funds you give me and supplementing it with my own income to cover the mortgage, so don't blame me. He brushed me off. Whatever, you're barely contributing compared to me. The person who earns the most is the one who's in charge, and that's me, so don't act like you can tell me what to do." His words silenced me, and I couldn't believe how much he had changed. When we first got married, Derek was kind and considerate. Now, our relationship was strained. We hardly spoke anymore, and sometimes we didn't even greet each other. He started working even longer hours, often coming home late at night. I began to wonder if our marriage could survive like this. We were just two people living under the same roof, barely even speaking. If this was how things were going to be, maybe it was better to get a divorce. But deep down, I still hoped we could fix things. After a lot of thinking, I decided to make the first move and try reaching out to him. Unfortunately, my determination was crushed in an instant. One day, I went to town to buy a birthday gift for a friend. It was a weekday, so my husband should have been at work, but instead, I saw him walking around in casual clothes, with a young woman I didn't recognize. My heart sank. I immediately suspected he was having an affair. To confirm my suspicions, I hired a private investigator. 3 weeks later, I received the report. My fears were true, my husband was having an affair. The woman was his coworker, and shockingly, their relationship had been going on for 2 years. It all made sense now. His late nights, extravagant spending, and sudden attitude changes all started around the same time as the affair. Anger boiled inside me. After everything he had said to me, belittling me, blaming me, he was the one betraying our marriage. I couldn't believe I had been protecting his ego and trying to save our relationship. I decided it was time to act. When I got home, I found him lounging on the sofa, watching sports. I stood in front of the TV and dropped the evidence of his affair onto the table. "Explain this," I demanded. He looked startled at first, but quickly shrugged it off. "Oh, that's Meg," he said casually. "She's my new wife." "New wife? What are you talking about?" I asked, stunned. "Well, since you found out, there's no point in hiding it. You're not needed anymore." "Not needed? What are you even saying?" "Frankly, I don't have any use for you in my life, but Meg doesn't like doing housework, so you can stay and take care of the chores for us." I stared at him, utterly shocked. "You've lost your mind. I'd never do that," I shot back. His face turned red with anger. "I'm the breadwinner here. What I say goes. If you can't follow my orders, then we'll get a divorce." Even after all this, he still thought he could control me. "Why would I listen to you?" "Fine, let's get a divorce," I said firmly. He looked surprised. "What? You cheated. There's no saving this marriage. Let's end it now." He hesitated, then smirked. "Fine, but don't come crying to me later," he said smugly. "I won't, but first, we need to transfer the names on the utility bills and car loans." I made sure everything, loans, bills, and debts, was transferred into his name, then we finalized the divorce. He probably thought it was all over, but for me, it was just the beginning. "You'll see how much I contributed to your life," I thought. The day after the divorce, I was already relaxing in my new apartment, but then, I started getting frantic calls from my ex-husband. I didn't block him because he still owed me compensation. Out of curiosity, I picked up. He sounded panicked and asked to meet. I reluctantly agreed, and to my surprise, he brought his mistress with him. They both looked upset. "What's this about?" I asked, crossing my arms. "Why didn't you tell me?" he snapped. "Every month, a ton of money is being deducted for loans, and why are the food bills, car payments, and utilities so high? What are you trying to pull?" "I'm not pulling anything," I replied calmly. "I left the house and divorced you. Those are your responsibilities now." "This is fraud," he yelled. "I'll sue you." His mistress clung to his arm, glaring at me. But I wasn't fazed. Their accusations were absurd, and I wasn't about to let them intimidate me. "It's your fault for not understanding the situation properly," I told my ex-husband calmly. "I showed you all the documents before, and since the house loan was originally in your name, it's only natural you pay for it. Until now, I've been depositing the necessary money into your account to cover it." He frowned. "How could you, with such a small income, afford to put that much money in?" Realizing he still didn't get it, I explained everything to him clearly. "I've been working as a freelance engineer. Right now, my annual income is about $200,000. His eyes widened. "What? Is that true?" It was obvious he was stunned to learn I'd been earning far more than him. "But it doesn't matter now," I continued. More importantly, I haven't properly claimed compensation for the damage you caused me. I'll be doing that through a lawyer. What? Are you trying to rip us off? He snapped. No, I replied firmly. This is my legal right, and I'll be making a claim against your mistress, too. He looked panicked, but there was nothing he could say to stop me. In the end, I received compensation from both of them for the emotional distress they caused me. As for his mistress, she was horrified to find out he wasn't paying for the house with his own money. The very next day, she disappeared from his life completely. Their relationship crumbled just like that. It was only ever held together by money. Now, my ex-husband lives alone in the house, struggling to pay off the loans while juggling work and bills. He got exactly what he deserved. Apparently, he couldn't handle the situation and started spreading rumors about the affair at work. His mistress accused him of abuse, and they ended up in a messy public fight. But no one believed either of them. Their credibility was shot. To make things worse for him, his financial troubles affected his job performance. He was eventually demoted and had his pay cut. It's all his own fault, and honestly, I don't feel sorry for him. As for me, I moved into a beautiful high-rise apartment. At first, I was nervous about living alone, but now I've adjusted. I feel relaxed and free. I'm not thinking about marriage or romance anytime soon, but that doesn't mean I want to be alone forever. If I ever meet someone again, I hope we can build a supportive, equal relationship, something I've learned the importance of through this experience. For now, I'm focusing on myself, working hard, and enjoying the life I've rebuilt.